Hello, my name is Adolfo and this is Life of Adolfo. This video is for people that are looking for love on these other three countries that I'm gonna mention. Passport bros, someone that is a foreigner trying to find someone from these three countries. I've been to all these three countries. I cannot cover the whole country because I haven't been through the whole country of all these three locations. In Thailand, that's where I've been to more locations. I've been to Phuket, Krabi, Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and cities in between. In the Philippines, I only been to Cebu City and the island, and in Palawan. In Colombia, I only been to Medellin and Cartagena. As for the things that I want to cover, some of them are only related to the US when it comes to distance. When it comes to distance and which one is better, as an American, I have to say Colombia because it's closer. Number two, the flight tickets are cheaper. And when I say faster is, what if there's an emergency? You could go to the US, or if the emergency is in the US, you could head to the US and arrive there quicker. When it comes to the Philippines and Thailand, it's farther for an American, but for an Australian or someone from Europe or Asia, it's a lot closer to be in the Philippines or in Thailand. Or maybe Colombia is still the same if you're in Europe. I'm gonna try to cover a few things. This is for people that are looking for love, passport bros, a foreigner looking for someone from that country, or in a fam. That's what Filipinos call. And a fam is a foreigner with someone of the Philippines. When it comes to visa, and this is for your first time visa, this is not talking about extension or process of trying to get it longer. This is just your first time. And for a lot of people, the first time is gonna be 30 days or less. There is in Thailand and in the Philippines is 30-day visa, and in Colombia it's a 90-day visa. This is for a US visa. I'm not sure of other countries, but for Colombia, like I said, it's 90 days. When it comes to, if you don't want to go through the process of extending it, or you don't want to go through all that hassle, or you don't understand it, then your next option is to, just in case you want to go back to that country to reset your visa, you have to leave the country. Then on this area, I have to say that the Philippines is the least likely for individuals because it's islands. You have to buy a flight ticket, and go to a country. While in Colombia and in Thailand, you go by land. In Thailand, you could go to Cambodia, Laos, and Malaysia. And depending on the restrictions of your passport, you could go to Neymar. And in Colombia, you could go to Ecuador, Peru, and Panama. And then depending on your passport, you could go to Venezuela. So far, the way I see it, as for me, I am in the Philippines, by the way, right now. I'm in Cebu. And when we talk about the visa, at the beginning, I was doing the fly in, fly out. I've been to Thailand multiple times as well. But once you know how the visa process works, like for me, and I extended my visa in the Philippines, then it's a lot easier to do extensions that you don't have to worry about flying in and out. You do have to pay. I'm not sure the prices of extension of of Colombia and Thailand. I only know the price in the Philippines. And I made a video on that. The next number that I believe that individuals that are going to that country need to know, if you don't speak Spanish, you don't speak Filipino, Tagalog, Bisaya, or you don't speak Thai, you want them to speak your language. And if you're watching this video, you speak English. And the number of individuals that speak English, if you're looking for someone, the numbers in Colombia is 27% speak English. This is the whole country. Now, if you're in Medellin, the number might be higher. Same thing with Thailand, it says 3%. If you're in Bangkok, the number might be higher. And in the Philippines, it's 92%. Now, the reason the Philippines has more people that speak English is for two reasons. It's the business language of the Philippines, and number two, they were an American territory, colony. I say territory because that's how the United States names them. Territory Puerto Rico, territory the Guam, Diego Garcia, and so on. And the Philippines used to be, a territory of the U.S. Spanish, they don't speak Spanish, even though they were under Spanish rule, but they do have the Visaya and Tagalog. They do have some Spanish in it. This one, I did not know about dowry, and I was watching this TikTok with this Filipino and an American, and the person said the Philippines doesn't do dowry. If the family is asking for money for her, they don't do dowry. You're basically getting taken advantage. And then he said, but Thailand does. So I had to do my research, and I'm not saying all Thailandese for the female they do dowry, but it is a tradition or something that is used in Thailand. Compared to the Philippines, there's no dowry, or in Colombia, there's no dowry. As for the divorce rate, this is a number that I heard it first in Thailand. This individual, he sat next to me, and he started talking about his relationship with a Thai. He's an American. And he said it was 6 of us, 3 of them married Chinese and 3 of us married Thailandese. The Chinese, the ones that are married with Chinese, they're still together. And the ones that are with Thailandese, I'm the only one out of the 3 that is still married to the Thailandese. But you have to keep in mind that in the US, it's a 45% divorce rate. So don't be surprised by the numbers. In Colombia, it's a 30% divorce rate. In Thailand, it's 25%. And in the Philippines, there's no number because they don't believe in divorce. Unless you're Muslim, there is divorce accepted. Another scenario, I'm not sure how it's accepted, but most of the times the divorce is going to happen if you do meet someone in the Philippines. The divorce is going to happen outside the country because it's easier the process. If she wants to file, she probably will file once you take her out of the country, if that's your plan. I'm just giving you scenarios. Or if you leave the country, you could get divorced while being married in the Philippines. When it comes to owning land, the only country that allows you to own land is Colombia. I don't know all the details on what you can own in Thailand and in the Philippines because I've been here the longest, and this is what I'm gonna call home. I call it home, is that you could own a condo depending on the percentage of how many foreigners to people from the Philippines are. And you cannot own land, but you can own the infrastructure on top. But I do recommend do your research and look it up. And because all these laws are subject to change. As for the cost of living, it all depends on the type of lifestyle you want to have. For example, right now, I'm in the Philippines. I'm in an area near the mall. This is the most I have paid for my condo compared to what the other places where I was at. I was paying less, and the reason I'm paying more now is because my significant other is pregnant. I want the taxi to be right outside just in case I needed to go to the hospital right away. As for the cost of living, in Colombia it's 673, Thailand is 817, and in the Philippines is 613. When it comes to the cost of living as a family, it's 1,658 in Colombia, 2,384 in Thailand, and in the Philippines, it's 1,580. What's the most expensive thing and least expensive out of all the numbers that they gathered for the cost of living here? And it's food, rent, transportation, and so on. For Colombia, the food costs less and transportation is a lot more. I believe it's because there's not a lot of motor taxis in Colombia. There is a lot of motor taxis, but most of the time you try to get the Uber and a taxi, and the train in Medellin doesn't have enough stops compared to the one in Thailand. In Thailand, the most expensive thing out of all those things categorized is transportation. Their transportation is more expensive, especially in Bangkok, the MRT, BRT. I'm not saying they're outrageous expensive, but that's the area that is more expensive compared to the other two countries. And in the Philippines, the transportation is less. They have the jeepney, they have motor taxis a lot, that the cost is very cheap. For example, from the place that I used to live the farthest to the mall, which is kind of far, is about 6 USD. No, 3 USD. Another scenario, I cannot really compare this, is the airport to the city, because in Medellin, there's no transportation, only taxi. And it's gonna cost you a lot. In Bangkok, if you decide to use the transportation as a taxi instead of the train, it's gonna cost a lot compared to the Philippines. In the Philippines, it's about 8 USD from the airport to the city. If you're going from Lapu-Lapu to Cebu. I'm talking about Cebu, not Manila. Just giving examples. And finally, the other number that I want to cover is the life expectancy. In Colombia, it's a 77.7. By the way, the US is 78%. In Thailand, it's 77.56. And in the Philippines, it's 71.48. And with those numbers, I just want to cover other things, is that if you already made your mindset that you want a Colombian, then you're going to get a Colombian. If your mindset is to get someone that is curvy, I recommend Colombia. If you want petite, I do recommend the Philippines and Thailand, because there are more people are petite. If you're looking for age gap, I want to say Philippines number 1, Thailand number 2, and Colombia number 3, depending on the age gap. If you're looking for a trophy wife, someone that has the dresses, I do recommend Colombia. Then I do recommend Thailand, and then the Philippines. If you're looking for modern and so on, you go reverse. You go Philippines, Thailand, and then Colombia. The way that I see how they dress, okay? The way that I see how the individuals are. For me, I see it a lot easier in the Philippines, because the apps, they're not filled with females that are trying to just look for a one-night stand. In the Philippines, it seems for longer, for a long-term relationship. In Colombia, I'll let you look at the Tinder and so on, and you'll understand. Now, if you're just trying to look for a trophy wife, you're gonna pick Colombia, not gonna lie. If you're looking for that mellow talk and so on, you're gonna pick Medellin. Females over there talk smooth. Even when they're mad, they talk so relaxed. I know that a lot of people say that in the Philippines, the females have a lot of attitude. It depends also on the person. Like for me, if you're fighting, I just ignore you. That's just plain and simple. So do I believe they have more attitude? I kind of want to say yes compared to other places, but it's a difference what I was looking for in the Philippines compared to other places. So it's hard for me to give those numbers. Hopefully you like my video, and hopefully you enjoy the time in the country that you're going to. Oh, and another thing, when it comes to safety, I'm gonna give you my honest numbers. I remember being in the Philippines, and I told the taxi driver, man, this place is safe. And he was surprised that I said that. He said, it's not safe. Like, he's comparing it to other places in the Philippines. I'm comparing it to other countries. It's a big difference. In Colombia, I got pickpocketed. When I went to a museum and I asked for directions, they say just be careful with your items. You have to walk a certain direction. And they use the word papaya when they see that you're a target. They say do not, make sure you don't become a papaya, or basically you're dressed to get robbed. I went to another museum, the same thing. The lady said, I don't recommend you to go through the back, go through the front, and so on. Like I mentioned, I did get pickpocketed. Another time I was waiting in a corner, and this taxi driver, motor taxi, he said, hey, be careful. There's a motorbike that I already passed 2-3 times, and I had my cell phone out, so I assumed they were trying to take my phone, because I did see the motorcycle, but for me, it was just like passing. But for them, they kind of noticed it. In Thailand, I didn't encounter nothing. And in the Philippines, I did see someone get pickpocketed, or he said he got pickpocketed, he was right next to me. But I still consider the Philippines the safest. Number 2, I want to say the Thailand. And number 3, Colombia, especially if you're going through the apps with all the incidents that have been happening in Thailand. Also, when I was in Colombia, I did ask the security guard if those things happen here where the foreigner gets slept on, and he said yes, it actually happened 2 weeks when I got there, 2 weeks prior to a Canadian. So those things do actually happen. So you have to be careful as well. With that being said, like I said, safety is the Philippines. For me, I like the Philippines. I like the more modern, the more down-to-earth person compared to having a trophy wife, having all these things. I'm not saying it because I couldn't have it. It's because I didn't want to. I just wanted down to earth, no fighting, relax, and a calm lifestyle. Peace, a calm lifestyle. And that's about it. Thank you. Thank you for watching.